to bring technocrats from different spheres of human endeavors across Africa to come together and share their experiences in a bid to sharpen each other skills to creating the Africa we want. Every year, the theme of the conference is carefully selected, and faculty board members as well are carefully selected, representing various spheres of influences. And this year's conference theme is cutting edge leadership in Africa. And we have speakers across Africa. We have Ni Soinka from Nigeria. We have Tulen Mohutu from South Africa. And also we have Clement from Rwanda. Today we will be privileged to have Ni Soinka, the success catalyst. He will be speaking to us about the need for mentorship for cutting edge leadership in Africa. And also we will be having spoken words from Aliu, and also from Praise Ademola. They will be giving us some spoken words. And as we stay to the very end of this conference, I can assure you that you will learn a lot, a great deal. You will learn a very great deal. So I'm happy to welcome you once again to this very conference. And without further much ado, as we await our as we await our speaker to join us much later, and also our spoken words artists, I would like to I must apologize. I had a power outage, and that is the quagmire of the African experience. And I believe that out of this conference, we'll have men and women who will change the narrative for us. All right. So you will just bear with me this way, pending when the lights is restored. Right. One of our spoken word artists is already here, and we will be giving her the chance and opportunity to begin her presentation before I make progress. So, Miss Praise, you can. Okay. Okay. I think they're having some little network challenge. So before they join us, I would like to begin. I would like to begin. I will be speaking on cutting edge leadership, the necessity as okay. Praise, you are welcome.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Mr. Joshua.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm happy to also have you on board. Okay, I was waiting for you to join us, and you are here already. So I don't know if you are ready.
Sorry, give me a few minutes to quickly do something. Just 2 minutes. Thank you.
All right, while she gets set, let me go ahead with what I have for us. So on cutting edge leadership, I want to begin by talking about the need for global thinking in cutting edge leadership. The first step to cutting edge leadership is sustaining a global thinking beyond your locality. The world is increasingly becoming globally connected, or as it is called, the global village. And the need for global leaders to rise and take the lead in various spheres of human endeavors is now. All right, thank you. The light has been restored. It's now, and Africa cannot be left out in this globalization of virtually all the sectors. We must of necessity begin to think global and proffer solution on global scales, making our solution globally viable. Please, if you join us, try and mute yourself. See, at the core of what we call globalization, most at times is not, um, it does not capture the African experience. Most at times, at the very core of globalization is westernization. So I'm here to challenge us as Africans to begin to move from our local thinking or local mentality that all we can do is that which can be viable within our own environment or context. But there is a need for us to begin to think of how we can proffer solutions that can be globally viable. Because even the globalization we are talking about at its core is westernization. We Africans have surrendered our brains to what only comes from the West to be the standard. Until we wake up and begin to contribute to the global discussion going on in the world stage, we will continue to be slaves of anything coming from the West. We are permitted to learn from other civilizations, but until we become, but we are not permitted to become slaves of it. So that means there is a necessity for us to evolve and develop from what we are learning from other civilizations. Let's contextualize all of those things to our African experience. All those things you learn from other civilizations, there is a need for us to contextualize it to our own African experiences. There is a need for us to begin to produce whatever we need to produce that will be globally viable, not just something that will only be patronized by your people in your only in your community, and when you bring it on the global stage, it does not sustain the capacity to be recognized as something viable. So today I'm here to challenge us to begin to sustain the mentality, the mindset of global thinking globally, not just thinking your locality and your environment. How can we begin to set Africa on the map? How can we begin to set Africa on the world stage? How can we begin to set Africa on the global stage? How can we also provide African alternatives on the global stage? Today, when you say a Chinese, there is something that comes into your mind. Today, if you say an American, something comes into your mind. But largely, when you say Africa, what really comes to your mind is had to be related to mediocrity. It has to be related to inferiority. It has to be related with poverty, with lack, and all of that. But today, I'm here to tell you there is a need for us to sustain the global thinking, for us to be able to change the narrative of our continent. So, permit me to speak about four things. I want to speak about four things. Number one of the things I want to talk about is the four dimensions of a cutting-edge leader. The four dimensions of a cutting-edge leader. The four dimensions of a cutting-edge leader. Number one, they are cutting-edge leaders are driven by a force greater than them. Cutting-edge leaders are driven by a force greater than them. The force of vision, that is the force of vision and purpose. The force of vision and purpose. These are the forces. This is one of the dimensions that characterize a cutting-edge leader. Number one is that they are driven by a force greater than themselves. They are driven by a force higher than themselves, and that is a force of vision and purpose. Vision is a force. Vision is a force that drives change. And any man or woman that has contributed significantly to the development and growth of humanity are visionary people. They are visionary individuals. They are men and women who are driven by something greater than them, and that is vision. That is vision. And vision is a product of purpose. I'm going to explain this. Vision is a product of purpose. Until the leader is clear about who he is or she is, then he or she will begin to catch the picture or the glimpse of what the future holds for him or her or for the continent. Until you are clear about who you are, then you begin to catch the glimpse of the future. You begin to catch the glimpse of the picture of the future that you desire to see for yourself and for the continent. So the force that drives any cutting-edge leader, number one, is the force of vision and purpose. If we begin to look at our African setting and we begin to look at the kind of leaders we have around us, you begin to see a lot of confusion around them. You begin to see a lot of confusion around people. It's because they are not clear about who they are. It's because they are not clear about who they are. So you will never ever never walk in the light or the fullness of who you are until you are clear about your purpose, until you are clear about who you are. And you cannot be a cutting edge leader who is not clear about who he is or has not fully discovered the purpose why he is here. Because largely what you will be creating or bringing on board that will make you a cutting edge leader is something unique that you were created to solve. It is something unique you were created for. So, but until you understand and uncover that which you have, that the reason why you have been created for, you will not be a cutting edge leader. So all you begin to do is to begin to copy and paste. There will be nothing unique about you. There will be nothing unique to you. Because why? Because there is nothing that there's a lot of confusion around you, and there's all you can do at best is to do what? Copy and paste. And largely, if you check what is happening on our continent, to the large extent, all we do as a people is to copy and paste the Western models. Western models of development largely is what we are always at the goal to copy and paste for ourselves. And the reason why it is not working for us is because it is a copy and paste something. There is no originality to it. There is no originality to it. Cutting edge leaders are original of themselves and not copy of any other person. So if you want to be a cutting edge leader, the number one force is the force of vision and purpose. That is a force that drives you in your quest to become a cutting edge leader. Number two, the cutting edge leader must be daring, courageous, and bold enough to step out and create the future they see for themselves. Cutting edge leaders must be daring, courageous, and bold enough to step out and create the future they see for themselves. I'm sorry for the silence. Cutting edge leaders must be daring, courageous, and bold enough to step out in creating the future they envision for themselves and for the continent. The world is experiencing a lot of disruption and great changes. And at this point, what we need are courageous leaders who will step out in faith and tell us this is the way we should go. The world is experiencing a lot of disruption. The world is experiencing a lot of changes. The world is experiencing a lot of changes, and there is need for daring leaders who will be bold enough to step out and create this future that they see for themselves and the future and the continent. You see, largely the path seems untreaded. The path seems as though it's a path that has never been walked upon. And there is a need for people who will step out and be bold enough to tell us this is the way we should go. Men and women who will chart the way forward for us as a people. Men and women who will chart the way for us as a continent. Please try and mute yourselves. Mute yourselves. James, mute yourself. Tandaz, Tandazank, please help us unmute. I'm sorry if I murdered your name, but try and mute yourself as well. So, as I begin to mention earlier, the second dimension of a cutting-edge leader are the bold and courageous ones who are ready to step out to create the future we want. And and one of the things I want to say under this point is that as young Africans, we must be baptized with a kingly mindset, with a domineering mindset, that it doesn't matter where you find yourself, you are going to dominate the space. It doesn't matter where you find yourself, you are there to dominate the space. You are not a slave. The slave mentality must be eradicated from our minds. We cannot be cutting edge leaders if the way we think is as slaves. So we must step up even the way we think. We must have the domineering mindset. We must think as kings, as owners, not as slaves. We must take our place in the community of nations. And if we must do that, we must approach it with a kingly mindset. We must approach it with a domineering mindset. We are not there just as slaves, as those who have nothing to offer, but we are there as men and women who have something to offer. So we need this kind of leaders who are bold, courageous, and are confident in themselves about the solution they have created for the world. They are confident enough to step out and say, this is the way forward for the world. It doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter if you're an African, you can tell the world, this is the way we should go. You can tell the world this is the way we should go by the quality of solution you have created, by the quality of solution you are providing to the world will be willing and ready to follow you. The world will be willing and ready to follow you. We must baptize ourselves with this kingly mindset. We must baptize ourselves with this kingly mindset of taking over, of taking dominion, of taking charge. Let me give you a story. A story of one of the stories I read in one of my favorite leadership books. It was a story of 10 spies. They were sent to go and spy a land. And after they were sent to go to this foreign nation to spy the land, after they came back, 8 out of 10 said in their report to their boss is that we are looking like grasshoppers before these people. We are looking like grasshoppers before these people. And the other two now said, no, we have what it takes to conquer these people. So we should just go at once and conquer them. Now the the difference between the two of them is the kind of mindset which they view the situation. One saw themselves as slaves, and others saw themselves as conquerors, as those who have what it takes to be able to conquer the situation at hand. And because of that, the mindset of the 8 influences the rest of the community of the people, and they now agreed that yes, we are slaves, and they accepted it. But the question is, 10 people, we are seeing the same situation, but they are seeing it through different eye lenses. One are seeing it from the eye of slavery, while others are seeing it from the eyes of conquerors, and the eyes of the kingly mindset I'm talking about. So how are we seeing ourselves as a people is very important if we really are going to be if really we are going to be stepping out and changing the narrative of our continent. All right. So the third point is cutting edge leaders are servant leaders at heart and in practice. Cutting edge leaders are servant leaders at heart and in practice. Not those who say it, but those who live it and practice it. You know, because of the way people are talking about servant leadership, so we a lot of people are also, no, I'm a servant leader, but the truth is we are only saying it, but we ain't living it. We are not practicing it. And for one of the third dimension of a cutting edge leader is that he or she is a servant leader. He or she is on the lookout for opportunity to serve the people, to serve his or her generation with the uniqueness they have discovered about themselves. Servant leaders are those who always are in the lookout for opportunity to serve their generation with the uniqueness they have discovered about themselves. What is it that you have discovered about yourself that you are willing to serve your nation, to serve your continent, to set your continent on the pedestal of greatness? Because the truth is, the key to greatness is service. So are we ready to give ourselves to serving our community, to serving our nations, to serving our continent? We lack servant leaders. Servant leaders at heart, we lack them. We lack such. And I hope that after this meeting, someone will begin to look out for opportunities for he or she to serve their generation with the uniqueness or the unique purpose they have discovered about themselves. We're celebrating Mark Zuckerberg. We are celebrating Jack Ma. We are celebrating Elon Musk. We are celebrating all these names across the world. Is because they are willing and ready to serve their generation with that which they have discovered about themselves. What is it that we have discovered about ourselves as Africans, and we are ready to serve our continent with that thing, to set it on the pedestal of greatness? Cutting edge leaders are servant leaders. And my last point is cutting edge leaders are people-centered. Cutting edge leaders are people-centered. Cutting edge leaders are people-centered. They prioritize people above projects. You see, I have seen a lot of things going on in our countries and our continent whereby you see our leaders are more concerned about project and not concerned about people. They are more concerned about infrastructural development and are less concerned about human capital development. And largely, when you look at our continent, we are blessed with enormous human capital potential, but we lack the willpower, will I say now, to develop this capacity, these potentials we have into into something that will translate to progress and development. You see, if we focus on infrastructural development, the problem we are going to be having is that you will be providing the people with infrastructure development, the infrastructure that the people don't even understand how they can be able to use it. And at the long run, the people will come back to either steal those things or even spoil them, because they will reduce whatever you have brought, whatever form of development you have brought to them. They will reduce it down to the level of their thinking. They will reduce it down to the level of their thinking, either by stealing it, spoiling it, or doing something to it. So people or human capital development in Africa should be the focus of leadership. So whichever form of capacity you find yourself to lead, I want you to begin to see yourself in the position to what? To begin to develop people, develop human capital potential on the continent. Because that is a proof that you are a cutting-edge leader, because you are concerned about people and you are concerned about developing them to become. You see, I like to say something. People are not just tools to accomplish your personal ambition, but people are resources we engage to achieve a common purpose. People are what? Are resource for us to achieve our common purpose or common objectives or common goal that we set before us. People are not tools. People are resource. Until the leaders in Africa begin to see people as resource and not as tools to be used to achieve personal ambitions. So let me give a recap of what I started talking about. The four dimension of cutting edge leaders. Number one is that they are driven by a force greater than themselves. Number one, that is a force of vision. The force of vision. Number two is the ability to be daring enough, bold enough to take the steps in creating the future they have seen or envisioned for the continent or themselves. Number three is that they seek for opportunities to do those things. They seek for opportunity to serve their nations, communities, and countries. So they are not power mongers, but they are service driven. They are men and women who are driven to serve and not to be served. They are people who are not seeking for power, but they are seeking for opportunity to serve their continent. Lastly, is that they are people driven. They are people driven. They are driven by people. They are driven by developing the capital human potential they have. And they see people not as tools, but as resource. And they prioritize people above projects. So people is their priority, not project first. You see, you cannot have a vision that is greater than you and be able to achieve it by yourself. You will need people. So you must see people as resources to achieve the vision and not as tools to be used or exploited. So I hope I've been able to make some sense. I hope I've been able to say something, and I hope that somebody is beginning to see something in a different light. You are beginning to sustain the global thinking. You are already seeing the necessity for a global thinking, because the world is evolving and becoming a global village, and the need for global leaders who will provide global directions is in the high rise. And Africans cannot be left out of those kind of quality of leaders who will tell the world, this is what we should do. This is the direction we should follow. This is it. We are providing the solution to the problem of the world. All right. I hope somebody have learned something. If you have learned something, can I see your can you write it on the chat box? Just indicate something so that I'll be sure we were together all the while. If you learned anything, I just want you to write it on the comment box or the chat box so that we get to see it. Oh, thank you. People are resources, not tools. Great, 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 great. Yeah, cutting edge leaders are people centered. Oh, thank you. Even though there's no name in Phoenix Note 10. All right. Who else? Let's get another feedback. Let's get another feedback. No any other feedback? At least we must begin to have a domineering mindset if you want to be global. Oh, thank you, thank you. That shows we are here. That shows we are here. All right, let me not waste much of our time while we receive Aliu Suleiman. He will be speaking here. He will be speaking to us. He has a spoken word to speak to us. Let me read a little of his biodata before he come on to speak to us. All right. Aliu Suleiman is a Pan-Africanist, a public speaker, spoken word artist, motivational speaker, political analyst, writer, and advocate for good governance. Born in Zaria City, Kaduna State, Nigeria, graduate of political science, Kaduna State University, winner of Kaduna Poetry Slam competition, Speak Now 2021 organized by Kaduna Ecos writers and speakers. I have certificate for Pan-Africanism, which was issued by Dr. Susan Tata, founder of Pan-African TV. Aliu Suleiman is one of the few persons I know that has a burning passion for Africa. And anytime I hear him talk and speak, I really get ignited. My passion for Africa gets reignited, and and he's here to set us on fire and ignite our passion for Pan-Africanism, for the new Africa we want, the Africa 2063. So Aliu Suleiman, you are welcome to Lead Africa Virtual Conference, and you have the flow, sir. You can go ahead. Thank you, sir, for joining us.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes. Good day to everyone. As my brother Joshua made mention that my name is Aliu Suleiman, and indeed I'm a Pan-Africanist, as he made mention of, and I'm here to make my own. Actually, I'm not here to do a poetry or something like that. I'm here to submit to give my submission about cutting edge leadership in Africa, and I will be talking about leadership, but I will focus on leadership in the past. What happened in the past? Because if you want to understand present, you must look at what happens in the past, and that is why I look at my submissions centered on leadership styles in Africa, but based on the historical perspective. You know, there was a young man called Chinua Achebe, or he has wrote a book in 1983 called The Trouble of Nigeria, which as well could be the trouble with Africa. And in that book, Chinua Achebe made mention that the problems of Africa is simply and squarely the problem of leadership. And that is true. The problem with Nigeria is problem with leadership, which as well could be a problem with Africa, is also a problem with leadership. African leadership finds itself in a very difficult situation. And that was what Kwame Nkrumah, the first president of the Republic of Ghana, have feared. Today, many African leaders have gotten used to a trapping of power. And those who speak about power were rights, in which they said, power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. I remember there was a time, let me give you this in order to energize those who are leaders among us. There was the first president of Tanzania, Julius Kambarage Nyerere. There was a time when he was moving in his car along his driver. Then he stayed along a traffic. Then he did not move until the traffic gave them permitted to move. Then one of the people asked Mulimu, that's Julius Nyerere, the first president of Tanzania, Mulimu, how did you leave power? And do you know what the response of Julius Nyerere? He said, oh, when I said, can you hear me, please?
Yes, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. We can hear you.
Yes. Then Mulimu, the first president of Tanzania, replied to him by saying, when I said I want to leave office, there are no shortage of people who said, please, Mulimu, don't leave us as orphans. And Mulimu said, no matter how good I must know when to leave the stage. This is the reply he told them. Mulimu Julius Nyerere, the first president of Tanzania, is the only African leader who resigned on himself. Nobody said that you should leave power, but Mulimu said that this is the best time that I should leave the stage so that I can leave other young individuals positions to display their own talent in leadership in Tanzania. That is why when he left office, people were crying in Tanzania. They are saying, no, Mulimu, don't leave. We need you in office. And he replied to them by saying, no, if I stay for too long, I will spoil it. And we remember this is what happens with when we look at the recent history in Libya. What happened with Muammar al-Gaddafi in Libya? Muammar al-Gaddafi is a very good leader, an honest man, but he stayed for too long. And when he stayed for too long, people want new face in democracy, although there is no democracy in Libya, but people want democracy as people want new face. So Muammar Gaddafi stayed for too long, and people are in need of a new face. He stayed for too long, and people are yearning and aspiring for a new face. That young individual must take over Libya, and that's the mistake that Muammar Gaddafi has made. The same thing with Zimbabwe. When Robert Mugabe came to power, he is very intellectual. We all know that he was very intellectual. He's very intellectual. But Robert Mugabe has stayed for too long, and institutions have suffered in Zimbabwe. Because Zimbabwe is the only country in Africa that they don't know which currency to use. There are one time during Mugabe using American dollar. Zimbabwe during Mugabe, they don't know which currency to use. And the economy of Zimbabwe were in sorry situation. And he was removed through what they called Valverde coup d'etat, but nobody called it a coup d'etat. But it has all the ingredients of coup d'etat, but nobody called it a coup d'etat in 2017. We know. So there's also another lesson we must also learn as Africans, young Africans who are going to take control of Africa. There is a lesson we must learn from the Chinese. And what are these lessons? You know, Chinese through our lifetime have succeeded. They did that. This has been done in Chinese. Why can't it be done in Africa? Why can't it be done in Africa? Chinese, during our lifetime, they succeeded in lifting nearly 800 million people out of poverty. They has done that in China. Why can't it be done in Africa? It can be done, I believe. They are humans like us. We can do that. We can do so. Vietnamese or Vietnam were bombed to the ground in 1975. Look at Vietnam today. Vietnam produce more coffee today than all African countries combined. Vietnam. And they were bombed to the ground in 1975 or 76. Vietnam. Look at the two Koreans, South Korea. They were in war in 1950s, but look at them today. The both Koreans were in the business of producing any consumer product that you know today in the world. They have grown during our lifetime. So we must learn. There is a lot of lessons we must learn from these people, the Asians. We may condemn them as far as such as this, but there is always lesson and wisdom we must learn from them. History has demonstrated that when people decided to work, for example, when people decided to work in agriculture, for example, they can actually do something about it. And let me tell you something, everything that you are seeing in the part of the world with regard to Africa, anything you are seeing in this part of the world start and end with leadership. If you don't have leadership, you will not have infrastructure. If you don't have good leadership, you will not have medicine in hospital. If you don't have leadership, you will not have development in your country. So everything begins and ends with leadership. And as I said earlier, history has demonstrated that when people decide to work in agriculture, they can actually do something about it. I remember so very vividly in Malawi, when President Mbiko Mutharika took over power, he took the view that he could improve agriculture in Malawi. He took the view that he could produce enough maize. He took the view that Malawians could do it. You will agree with me, they did it. It was be done in Malawi. Why can't it be done now? I remember so very vividly, those of you who are from Burkina Faso, in 1983, when that young man, Thomas Sankara, came to power in 1983. Yes, in 1983, he said the Burkinabe must feed ourselves. And within a short period of time, I think 2 years, the Burkinabe can feed themselves. It has been done in Burkina Faso. Why can't it be done today? Why can't it be done today in Africa? So, as I said earlier, we who have gathered here today to talk about the cutting edge leadership in Africa, we must know that we have been deluded for too long in Africa. We have been deceived for too long in Africa. It is only in Africa that we used to sing the song that we are leaders of tomorrow. But the politicians of the day had ensured that tomorrow never comes. We should work to ensure that the tomorrow that our leaders have talking about is today. Is today. We are deceiving ourselves when we believe that we are leaders of tomorrow. We are deceiving ourselves. We should believe that we are leaders today, and we should start serving today. Because those politicians in Africa are only interested with things that matter regarding themselves, not what matter regarding the other peoples they are governing, or they are governing. So we must know that throughout history, any country that you know, especially with regard to Africa, throughout history, young Africans have young Africans have always made their contribution. If you look at the history of any African country, for example, if it is in South Africa, you will recognize young men and women who are in their 20s. How old was Oliver Tambo when he joined the struggle? How old was Walter Sisulu when he joined the struggle? How old was Albert Lufuli when he joined the struggle? How old was Robert Sabuki? How old was Bantu Stephen Biko? In South Africa, when they are rising against the apartheid regime in 1960 at the Shapley massacre, in 1967 at the Shapley massacre, and in 1976 at the Soweto massacre, it was young men and women who consciously rose and they said they must change their country, and apartheid died in South Africa. And not only in South Africa, if you go to Namibia, how old was Sam Nujoma when he joined the struggle? How old was Herman Adimba Toyibo? And not only in Namibia, if you move upstairs to Angola, how old was Agostina Neto? How old was Holder Rabatu? How old was Jonas Malheli Savimbi? When they are fighting against the government of António Despilula in Portugal, how old they are? They were in their 20s. And we today who have gathered in this meeting today, some of us are 30s, and we are still claiming we are young. We are still claiming we are young. Those leaders who fought for the freedom of our motherland, Africa, they have started the struggle in their 20s. In their 20s. So if you look at Nigeria, for example, how old was Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe when he joined the struggle after he came back from the United States of America to start or to begin the initiation and also for the struggle for the independence of Nigeria? How old he was, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe? If you look at Sabu Bakar Tafawa Balewa, how old they were in those days when they are fighting for the freedom of Nigeria? If you move to Cameroon, how old was Ahmadu Ahijo when he joined the struggle? If you go to Zimbabwe, how old was Robert Mugabe in 1980 when they got or struggled for the independence of Zimbabwe? How old they were? They were in their 20s. And not only in Africa, it was young men and women who have rose and built their countries. Let me give you another example. In the United States of America, it was young men and women when they are fighting the civil rights movement. We remember Martin Luther King Jr. was the one who were marching, and the other young and other young diasporans in the United States of America who were marching in Montgomery, Alabama, in order to fight the civil rights movement in 1950s in US. And we remember in Cuba, it is young men and women. It is young Fidel Castro, young Raul Castro, young Ernesto Che Guevara who were involved in the struggle. In 1908, in Turkey, when they are changing the Turkish model, it was young individuals who involved in the struggle. Also in 1917, in Russia, in the Soviet Union, it was V.I. Lenin when they are fighting the Bolshevik revolutions in 1917, and we now talk about the Russians. It was young individuals who built that country, now known called as Russia, before it was collapsed from the erstwhile USSR, Union Soviet Socialist Republic, after it was collapsed, I think, 1989. So we must know that as young Africans, there is work that rests on our shoulders, because our leaders who fought for our freedoms in the early 1960s struggles to ensure that we achieve political independence. And when we achieve political independence, they also pursue in order to have economic independence. But along the line, our independence were somehow manipulated. The colonial masters has give Africans the ground, but they retain the jewels. It's what they have did. They give us the ground, but they remain with the jewels. They told us we are free, but we are not free. We are still under their own tutelage and under their own pocket and under their own economic and political subjugations and even domination, which some peoples in Africa whom they call themselves our leaders, but in real sense, they were actually misleading us. We call them comprador bourgeoisie in their classical names. We know them. You know, it's not my wish to label you with long speech, because I know there are many people who are going to give their own submissions about this very important program. organize called Cutting Edge Leadership in Africa. I will not label you with long speech. I will stop here. I hope and pray we will work, build our pride interest, which is Africa. Please, not one thing. We are not leaders of tomorrow. We are leaders today. We should start serving today. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Liu. Thank you. You know, I've already told you, if he begins to talk, you know, he's our. Whenever he's talking, all I keep seeing is Professor Lomumbo. You know, he he has a way of yes, yes. He has a
Thank
way
you
of
very much.
traveling with you through the continent, giving you all the stories, the history, and establishing certain facts. And before you know it, you'll be like, so all these people are your age and all that, and these are what they were able to do. And then you be as he said, we are not leaders of tomorrow, we are leaders of now. And one of the pledges we hold on to in our organization is that the future is now. The future is not tomorrow. The future is now. Yes.
Correct.
And Africa has been waiting for us. And me and you are here. So we must begin to take the responsibility of our continent, because the founding fathers were just at our very age, and they took responsibility to bring about political independence to us. And now, rested on our shoulders is the need for us to liberate our continent and bring it to how will I say, economic independence. Usher in the prosperity we need, and the kind of wealth that we need to be created for ourselves and for our development and all of that. So the responsibility is enormous, and it's resting on our shoulders as the young people. It is obvious that we are the ones, and if we fail to do it, I usually used to say, it might be too late, because sincerely, those I try to call the vultures are already here to do, or to take to devour that which we are not able to maximize, or that which we are not seeing. They will come and devour it to their own advantage and not to our own advantage. So if until we, the young people, begin to see that, no, we need to rise up and take up responsibility for our continent. Thank you very much, Aliu. And
thank you very much.
Yes.
Let me say something, please. Yes. Lastly,
okay.
You know, as a young leaders, there is something I remember what my brother Joshua is talking. You know, if I'm a president of a country, this is how my approach will be as a leader. Now, recognizing the fragile of my country, Nigeria, or any other African country that you know, recognizing the fragile, I will be holding monthly meeting with opposition parties, monthly meeting. Because if you look at the many opposition political parties in Africa, the oppositions, the leaders of the oppositions, what they want is to be heard. They want to have an opportunity to be listened. So if you are elected into positions of power, you should ensure that you involve them into decision makings of their country. I think Nelson Mandela of South Africa have understand before everyone. He has done it. He appointed Buche Butevele as the president. He said, Buche Butevele, do you have any problem with being appointed of my cabinet, so that your beautiful ideas and mine will mix and govern South Africa? And I think that's what our politicians use in governing Nigeria. Most of the politicians, if you look at what they have ideas, but because they did not have the opportunity to serve their countries, they will oppose everything you propose, and they will oppose everything and they will propose nothing, because they are not part of the decision making. They are not part of it. So as long as when you have the opportunity to serve, you should ensure that you consult the oppositions at whatever institution you are serving. Consult them, listen to them. They all want to be heard. They want to be heard by others. They want to be part of decision making. As I said, Nelson Mandela have did it. He appointed Bucha Butavele as a president, as a prime minister. He asked him, Bucha Butavele, do you have any problem with being appointed of my cabinet, so that this your beautiful ideas and mine will mix and we govern South Africa? I think this what should be, and this will be my approach also if I am a president. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Aliu. I hope tomorrow we'll still have you to do this with us, and I hope we are going to still be privileged to still hear him speak to us again. All right, thank you very much, Mr. Aliu.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, without much further ado, I want to, as we await our speaker, Nii Soyinka, he will soon be joining us, just have some few things to handle. So while we wait, Praise will have the session. I will have our own spoken word. Praise is a final year student of mass communication at the prestigious Ahmadu Bello University Zaria. She's currently an intern at Max FM 1002.3 Lagos, an advocate of healthy and intellectual relationship. Praise is passionate about her faith, health, physical well-being, writing, and creating art pieces to promote positive attitude, especially among youth within her age bracket. She utilized her skill to drive her social change as a volunteer to a number of reputable organizations, including SWAG Initiative, Project EAC, The Vital Life, and the Africa Leadership Engagement Team, where she served as a content creator, visual storyteller, and media publicity manager. In her leisure time, she loves to tell visual stories and listen to contemporary gospel music over a nice warm cup of tea. All right, I hope as Praise will be speaking with us, we will be getting our cup of tea as we listen to her. All right. Please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joshua. I know I like being dramatic, but did you really have to say that? Thank you very much. Kudos to Mr. Ali for such a wonderful job. Wow, I never knew politics and history was that interesting. Thank you so much, sir. And to Mr. Joshua, what you shared with us earlier was very exact. In fact, I was just going through what I planned to say today, and I was like, I'm so glad that it's in tally, you know. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you, everyone, for joining in to listen. I hope that at the end of this session, you're not going to regret coming up. So the title of my spoken word poetry is Show Us the Light. I feel like saying as you listen may be blessed, but I'm not in the church setting. So I hope that as you listen, you will have a greater and a better mindset. Thank you. In October 2020, Nigeria committed her worst crime. I remember the time, gunshots, bloodshed, screams, tears, curses. I thought the end had come, and I remember praying for this. Thank God for the brief relief, but has it really changed? The other day, I was asked what I expect from my leaders. Thinking long and deep, I realized there was nothing. I mean, where do I even start from? Is it a crime to be modern? Why does this system of ours prefer backwardness and hate progression? Why does she plunge herself into debts yet pay outrageous salaries to dignitaries? Why are the figures on the budget increasing year by year, and yet allocation to the health and education sector are lower than it was 6 years ago? And you say this is change. Permit me to do that. I like being dramatic. I'll come up at the end. Thanks so much. Mr. Joshua, thanks for interrupting me. I would like to start again, if you don't mind.
Fine.
All right. In October 2020, Nigeria committed her worst crime. I remember the time, gunshots, bloodshed, screams, tears, curses. I thought the end had come, and I remember praying for this nation like never before. Thank God for the brief relief, but has it changed? The other day, I was asked what I expect from my leaders. Thinking long and deep, I realized there was nothing. I mean, where do I even start from? Is it a crime to be modern? Why does this system of ours prefer backwardness and hate progression? Why does she plunge herself into debt yet pay outrageous salaries to dignitaries? Why are the figures on the budget increasing year by year and yet allocation to the health and education sector are lower than it was 6 years ago? And you say this is change. Certainly, this was not what we bargained for. More people becoming homeless, naira failing, poverty prevailing, many youths unemployed, terrorism and banditry the order of the day, corruption the most profitable venture. And I am left to wonder, what is left of these ashes? In situations like this, I cringe, I run far from it, angry, I can only point fingers at the old fathers that have failed us. Long before we gained our freedom, we had sold ourselves, exposed ourselves even to the criticisms of the world. People look at us and say, look at that black jungle where leaders buy their way to power, maim and kill unworthy cheats that cause division, problems far outgauging the solutions. On this side of the earth, we see favoritism, ethnicism, and nepotism coming to play. Oh God, the clientelism is suffocating. In loyalty to Godfatherism, justice is denied. Public funds being flushed down the drain while the people are left to suffer, all for what? What is our offense? That we voted you to power, encouraged by the light you showed, but it was all a lie. To get us on your side, now you bite the hand that feeds you. Oh yes, that's what you do. I had lost all my hope, yet along came the African Leadership Engagement Team that created in me a reverb deep within my soul for a Black nation that had enslaved herself, and yet she's not too far to be redeemed. ALE showed me this, and I am proud. Now, if I am asked how leaders are born, I tell you, look at yourself. Sarcastic, isn't it? But the truth is, listen to me, they are born like the rest of us. Knitted and yearned by God in the mother's womb like the rest of us. They suckled like the rest of us. Most of them went to school, studied like the rest of us. They made passes and failures like the rest of us. And life may put us on different tracks. Lanes like in a game of sprint, we run and outrun to make it right, but the truth is we aren't sprinting. We're all in a never-ending relay. Indeed, the same race we run, passing the baton to the one who is after. Now, this is supposed to be for the better. We keep screaming for a revolution, but truth is, there's not going to be one without you. Let me tell you this. A relay race is what we run. From one hand to the other, this beautiful Black nation will pass like in a game of truth or dare. When the bottle faces you, what will you do? Will you sit on the baton? Will you take it to the Godfathers? Or will you run with it? The future lies with you. Remember to show us the light when it's your turn. I bring you peace. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so very much. That's beautiful. That's beautiful place. Thank you so much. Wow. So please, if you learned anything from her session, I think you can drop a chat. Yes, you can drop a chat. I don't want to waste our time again. Our speaker is already here, and he's here. He's ready. I don't know if you are ready, but he is ready for us. And I believe we are going to learn a great deal today. So if you are ready, can I see it on the chat box, please?
Ready.
If you are ready, signify. Just say I am ready. Just say I am ready. I am ready. Okay. That's great. That's great. All right. Our speaker, the profile is really long, but I would like to just read the short one we have here because it will take us a very long time. So, with his permission, I would like to shorten it so that he will have the time to speak to us. Sir, do I have your permission? Sir? He's mute now. I'm asking him to-
Oh, sorry, I just called my name. I'll be good to go. I think I'm fine. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir.
So I said just call for invitation.
All right, sir. All right, sir. Thank you. All right. Nii Soyinka, the success catalyst, as he is fondly called, is a polymath. He is a life leadership and business coach, trainer and consultant. He is a lead strategist at Big Shot Consulting Limited, a human resource development firm. He is also a radio host, motivational speaker, and nation builder. Nii is a chartered personal manager and an associate member of the Chartered Institute Personal Management, CIPM, as well as the Nigerian Institute of Management, NIM. Nii holds an MBA with specialty of human resource management. In 2018, Nii was part of the selected mentors for the Coca-Cola Youth Empowerment Initiative. Currently, Kaduna State coordinator of Gemstone Generation, empowered, motivated, and stirred to operate with natural excellence. Nii Soyinka is also a TED creator. He is the author of the best-selling book, How to Earn a Fee from What You Do for Free, Making a Big Money from Your Skills, Ideas, and Talent. Please make welcome our speaker. You're most welcome, sir, as you'll be speaking to us on mentorship for cutting edge leadership. Thank you very much, sir. Sir, you're not, you are mute. Sir, we can't hear you.
You can hear me. Good evening, everybody. You can hear me, please, in the comments. I know a lot of us do that, but I'm hearing.
We are not hearing you clearly.
Is it possible? Can you hear me?
It's breaking. It's breaking, sir.
Give me a minute. Let me see if I can.
Okay, sir.
Just give me a minute. Let me change the net.
Okay, sir.
you for your incredible team. Many thanks to your incredible team too for all that you're doing to make this possible. While I came in, I think I was hearing that spoken word. That was powerful. That was pretty powerful. Well done, well done. All right, so very quickly this evening, already I know a lot of our time has been consumed, but I can assure you that you will truly get value for this evening's meeting, right? So it's good to see everybody here. I may not be able to mention everybody's name, from Magira to Adebayo to Aliu to Praise to T Decency to Demondus to Omolola. All right, everybody, I honor and I celebrate you. Thank you. Right. So in the next, say, 30 minutes thereabout, I'll be sharing with us on mentorship, the cutting edge to leadership. Right. This is very powerful, a very powerful topic that I've been given to discuss. Right. You see, the truth is this. I want to start by saying that you and I do not have all the time in the world. Right. We do not have all the resources in the world. We do not have all the wisdom in the world. We do not have all the time in the world, okay, to become all that we can be, as it were, right? What I'm saying is that, okay, if we're going to wait that until we don't have all the time. Basically, what I'm saying is that we don't have all the time in the world to become truly what we want to become. So what I'm saying is that there have been systems created by life, systems created by God, systems created by men and women that we can use to leverage. All right. I hope you can hear me. I know there's somebody who's talking. You can move that other person so that we can go ahead. But I hope you can hear me. James, let me know you can hear me. Joshua.
Yes, sir. I can hear you clearly, sir.
Okay, beautiful. So this is very important to know that systems have been placed in our lives. Systems have been placed by God, by people of wisdom, by our predecessors, all right, that will make us, since we don't have all the time, since we don't have all the resources, since we don't have all the energy, right? So these systems have been put into place that we can leverage upon, right? So that, okay, what can take us 10 years? What could have taken us 20 years? What could have taken us a lifetime? These systems are in place such that we do not need a lifetime to become those things. I'll say it again. Systems have been put in place by God, by men of wisdom, by life, right? And these systems are there to help us leverage such that we do not need to spend our lifetime, because we don't have all the time in the world. We will not need to spend all of our lifetime to, as it were, how do they put it out there, to re-engineer those systems. Rather, all right, to reinvent the wheels. That's what they call it. Okay, so these systems are there. And one of those major systems that we can leverage on is the system of mentorship, the system of mentoring. It's one of those systems that lie. It's one of those systems that have been created so that when we leverage upon them, we can gain time. We can, I'll tell you much more, right, on the advantages we will get from mentoring. All right, this is powerful. So let me even start by talking about the leverage system. Okay, so I don't know about you, some of us who have done sciences, even you have not done sciences or not, I hope you know there's something called a lever. Now, that lever is a system, okay? It can carry things that are literally heavier than it, but it will somehow carry those things and sustain them, okay? Now, that's exactly what the system of mentoring can do. It's a lever, right? So we can leverage on it. And this is very powerful. I wish I had the picture here so that I can show you, but the best picture I can create is the picture where you have, anyway, just find a leverage system. After this class, just go and Google a lever system. You'll see what I mean. Literally, a lever system will literally carry what is bigger than it. So basically, I'm saying that mentorship system affords us that. This is very powerful and it's very important. Now, who are mentors? Mentors are simply those who have gone ahead of us. Mentors are simply those who have experience, right? Who have knowledge, who have expertise, right? lead usually than we, right? I'll say that again. Mentors are people, they are individual men and women, right? Who know better than us, who have experience better than us, and who have seen it all, as it were. And we can use, because you see, like I said, you don't have all the time to reinvent it. I used to tell people that, you see, your desire, your highest desire, my highest desire is actually somebody's reality, right? If that was good, but hear this again. Your highest desire, my highest desire is somebody's past. I'll say that again. I'll say these two statements again, and they're very powerful. Imagine your dream for the next 30 years. This is your biggest dream in life. Maybe this is your dream. Somebody just imagine your dream in 2 seconds. Now, that your biggest dream is somebody's current reality. If that was great, but listen, that your biggest dream in life, that my biggest dream in life is actually somebody else's past. Okay? Somebody saying I should put on my video. I'm not putting it on because I'm afraid of the network and all of that. But I hope it's okay. I hope you can hear me. Let me be sure you can hear me. I didn't put it on because of the network. Are we good? Can you hear me even with the video on? Somebody was seeing my hands on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
But I'm all right. Thanks. Okay. So that's basically what I'm saying. Our dream is somebody's dream. That the biggest dream, somebody's past. It's simple to just why I go and leave somebody. The simple wisdom is for me to find this person and say, oh, sir, your dream, your past is my future. As well, sir, your past is my future. Can I see you and learn? This is wisdom. Your past is my future. So what's the point me going to my future when I know it's somebody's past? I should meet that person. So that's exactly the system that mentoring affords us. Right? Very important. Now, so what do tell us what our mentors provide, the advantage they have? They tell us what our mentors demand us. Then I will ultimately tell us, right, how to identify mentors, how to have this partnership that we're talking about. Now, all around the world, one of the things that we do not, so number one of the things that mentors do for us is that mentors provide protection. This is very powerful, right? If you truly have a sincere mentor, you truly have a mentor that has, because a lot of us have a mentor. Let me go very quickly. Okay, a lot of us used to say, oh, somebody's teaching on TV, right? Doing well in one industry. That can be somebody you admire. That can be somebody you love, but that doesn't necessarily make him your mentor, right? Because it's important. A lot of people, you've never seen certain people, you've never met them, you don't have conversation with them, right? I think there should be another word for that, not a mentor, maybe a tutor, right? Maybe something else. Okay, but a mentor is actually somebody who really, because actually, I hope you know that the word mentor is actually the name of a person, right? It's actually the origin of the name mentor is the name of a person. It was one of those philosophers who said, I think it was Plato, who said, okay, I'm going on a journey. So he carried his son and gave him to a mentor, as it were, and said, please mentor my child and let him become a great man. So it's actually, it has to be a relationship. There has to be a connection, right? And we need that for cutting-edge leadership. So the first thing that mentors provide for us is that mentors provide protection, right? So if you really have a mentor, that mentor will protect you. When you are making a post, that mentor will say, oh, this is not the post you're supposed to make. This will not give you the leadership edge that you need, all right? So they protect us. The second thing that mentors do for us is that mentors give us momentum. Mentorship provides for momentum. Right? And that's very powerful. And that's exactly what I've been saying, right, in the last 9 or 8 minutes. Momentum. You are able to, because they've gone ahead, they've seen ahead, right? Your speed and my speed, all right? All right, thank you, praise. All right, your speed and my speed is truly, truly going to increase. All right, we will get momentum when we have mentorship. Very powerful. Number 3 is that mentors also prevent us from mistakes. This is true because they've seen it all. They've gone through it all. But okay, this step you want to take now, I took it 15 years ago. Remember our parents or those movies we used to watch those days? They will say, Ajoke, Ajoke, Ajoke. Ajoke is a name. All right, how many times did I call you Ajoke? 3 times, grandma. Ajoke, this step you want to take, I took it 55 years ago, and look at this black leg. Look at this black leg. That's the cause. Now, that could be funny, but that's exactly what happens to us. Okay? They prevent us from mistakes. And the mistakes that some of us have made in life may be avoidable if only we had a mentor, or if only we listen to that mentor. Okay, so number one, mentorship provides protection. Number two, mentorship provides momentum, speed, acceleration. Number three, mentorship prevents from mistakes. Right? With the right mentorship, you will of course, you should make your mistake. You must make your mistake, right? But the gravity, the intensity, all right, of that mistake will be minimized by the input of a mentor. That's why mentorship is very critical and important. All right. And number four is that mentorship also provides for promotion. Why? That's very obvious. All right. I in an industry where one of the ways to accelerate your step is in that industry. Not man who knows, right? Is the fact that, okay, this mentor has insight. This mentor has contact. This mentor has idea, because I work in an industry where for you to really accelerate, you probably need to move one of those in the same industry. You need to move from one of the companies to another, biggest to accelerate, right? And so you need to have a mentor who probably has some leverage, some contacts, or probably is also in that industry and somehow he has moved the chain. So you can, from the path he has left, you can be able to follow those steps rather. So mentorship gives for promotion, and this is what it. So what is the mentorship does for us? It gives us protection. Number two, it gives us mentorship. Number three, it helps us from making mistakes. And number four, mentorship gives us promotion. Now, this is the introduction of my talk. Let me begin to go inside really what I want to talk about today, and this will give us leadership, right? Now, so what do mentors demand of us? This is very important, because a lot of us see people, oh, just for John, you mentor me. I love what you do. I love the way you talk. I love the way you carry yourself. I love the way you do the things that you do. I love the success that you are making. Can you mentor me? Now, that's the picture we literally have all around. But I need to tell you something, that you need to know what a mentor demands from you. And number one is this: a mentor demands teachability. Teachability, right? If you are not teachable, it's only a matter of, you can't be mentor. I'll say that again. If you're not teachable, you cannot be mentor. No mentor wants to mentor anyone, permit my language, no mentor wants to mentor anyone who is not teachable, anyone who is not open to learning, anyone who is not open to correction, anyone who is not open to guidance. A mentor needs teachability. It's very important, right? You know, because you have a lot of people who believe that they are in the 21st century, they are exposed to the tech world, and so they believe that, okay, mentor, right, I'm just managing you because you are older than me, right? And that's why many times we also jump from mentor to mentor. Today, this year, 2021, this person is your mentor, right? In 2022, in 2025, you've had 7 mentors that are changing clothes. Okay? All right? So it's very important. So mentors demand teachability. You must be teachable. I must remain teachable. I'm saying teachability because, you see, the joy of a mentor is that you should do better. A true mentor will actually desire that you do better than them. Okay? However, when you are doing better, it's not the time to begin to say, mentor, oh, I need to say this into something. It's not the time to begin to say, mentor, you don't know what, mentor, you are mentor, right? Now I understand that, okay, for some reason, probably some mentors are probably getting old. They are not in time, as it were, again. Is this? That's the point. Just remain teachable. Being teachable is a posture, right? Being teachable is an attitude. Okay, so it doesn't matter the level, whatever it is. You're teachable, because these are demand from us. Number two, they also demand accountability. Very important. See, because many times, let me give you this insight. Many times our mentors are very deep, okay? And if you really have a mentor who calls you every time, please follow that mentor like your life depends on it. Because many mentors will not call you. Right? It's your call to go probably a quarter, probably every month, whether they call you or not. But this was what you discussed with me last time. Just be accountable, whether they call you or not. Don't say, he didn't call me. I don't know this. I'm just calling him mentor because I just like him. I just want to be around him. I want to take selfie with him. No. Except you are joking. But truly, whether because I can teach for free, mentors are busy. They're truly busy. It's not that they don't want to mentor you, but you see, put them under pressure. Put them under pressure to be accountable. I'm giving you a very powerful tool to be your mentor. Be accountable when they ask for it or not. Send them a mail, right? Tell them send them a message. This is what I'm doing, sir. When can I see you? Whether they call you or not. It's very important. It is you that the mentors do not really need us as well. It is we that need them per se. Just, and I'm saying this in quotes now, right? They really do not need us. We are ones that need them. So if you really need somebody, the secret or the proof of hunger, the proof is possible, right? I will know how hungry you are by the way you pursue it, right? So the proof of hunger is pursuit. Okay, so they're accountable, they demand accountability. Number three, the third thing that mentors demand from us, and we can have cutting-edge leadership with that, is that mentors demand loyalty. This is very important. Be loyal. This is key. This is very important. So whether the mentor is there or not, loyalty, I mean that you take a bow, you defend them. All right, in their presence, in their absence, all right. This is a very true story, and I'm going to mention names, okay? And it's an extreme example, but I think it should be a learning point for us. So I think this is a true story. I heard it, but sometimes when such statements are paraphrased, probably there's been some additions, but whatever it is, whether true or not, but I understand it's true. Okay, we can pick the lessons from it. So I think there was an interview done for Bishop David Abioye. Bishop David Abioye is the number 2 man in the Living Faith, the Winners Chapel, right, where you have Dr. David Oyedepo as the lead bishop and lead pastor. So somebody asked Bishop David Abioye, who is literally the second in command, he said, if you see your mentor, if you see your father in the Lord, as we call it over here, in bed with a lady, what will you do? You know what he said? He said, I will go and lock the door and stay by the door until they are done. Listen, he said, I'm staying by the door so that another person will not see what is happening. Powerful, powerful. Like I said, it's an extreme example, but I'm just telling you what loyalty means. It's very important, very critical. I'm not saying you should support it. That's what I'm saying now. Like I said, I'm looking at the spirit behind it, not exactly. I'm not saying you should begin to defend what is wrong or what's going on, and you are beginning to quantify it. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the spirit behind the I'm talking about the spirit behind that conduct. That's loyalty. Loyalty to the end. Right? It's very powerful. So these are the things that you see, because you see, mentorship. Let me tell you what they do here. This is very powerful. Mentorship, right? If you really it is actually a spirit. That's why certain people, they have not been talking with, probably have not talked. Joshua has been watching me. Somehow my spirit rests upon him, even much more than the person who comes to me every day. This happens a lot. So I'm saying by design that mentorship is also a spirit. I'll say that again. Even though you find this more in the spiritual circle, it works everywhere. Let me tell you what I said again. Probably, let's imagine Joshua submits to me as his mentor, right? So, and there's somebody else, okay, who doesn't see me before, who has not seen me physically before. We've not even had conversation before, but somehow he has heard me, all right? He has probably scored me. He listens to me. Then suddenly, the same grace, I don't want to go too spiritual, but I'm telling you this works. The same spirit that is upon me rests upon that other person. Even probably more than the person who is at close proximity to me. This is very powerful. So you must catch, what I'm saying is that you must catch beyond hearing, beyond listening, you must catch the spirit of the mentor. This is what has been missing in our generation. That's why it appears as if leadership keeps sinking and sinking now. Why? We didn't catch the spirit of leadership. Dr. Miles Monroe he even wrote a book about it. He calls it the spirit of leadership. There's a spirit of mentorship. There's a spirit of leadership that we must catch. Right? And one of the greatest way it comes is through loyalty. Loyalty. Be loyal to the core. Right? This is very important. Right? The last thing, I don't want to waste too much time. The last thing that mentorship will do for us is that mentorship will give us, the last thing that mentors demand from mentees is honor. Honor. Right? Very powerful. You must dutifully honor your mentor. Oh, very important. Honor them in their presence, honor them in their absence, honor them with gifts, honor them with great words, honor them with words, honor them with respect. I think it was Mike Murdoch who said that, I think he said 70% of the commandment, for those of us who are not Christians, whether Christians or not, just don't go into this scriptural illustration. In Exodus chapter 20, you have what we call the 10 Commandments. And Dr. Mark Murdoch said about 60 to 70% of the commandment talks about honor. Honor the Lord your God. Honor your father and your mother. All right. That 70% of the commandment is honor. And it's very powerful. Honor does a lot. Honor gives access. See, the truth is this. One of the ways to honor your mentor, one of the ways to honor my mentor is to actually give gifts. But you see, many times, we as mentees will say, my mentor has everything. What else can I give him? You are missing it out. See, every time let me tell you this, as a rule in my home, before I got married, it was a decision I was going to make. And when I got married, I didn't know my wife had also caught the spirit before we even got married. Anytime I'm appearing before anybody who's greater than me, anytime probably we are going as a family to visit people who we know literally are greater than us, we do not go without a gift. We do not go, even if it's just a wine, even if it's just some, right now in this December, my wife's already telling me for the budget of 1 or 2 people who are going to visit. And she's already saying we must go with a gift. Now that's very powerful. So one of those days, we now gave a mentor figure in our lives a gift. So when we gave them a gift, the man was shocked. All right, he was surprised. He said, you know what? A lot of people think that we have everything, so they don't give to us. That this one that you have done has touched our heart. And that's powerful. That's powerful. I understood it. Right? Because they think that this man is a millionaire, this man has everything. What else can I give to him? What else? No. Only if only you knew. I heard of a story of a guy or a lady who simply gave the MD of the company. He was serving a youth corps member. He gave the MD of the company where he was serving Granot. I think it was for a break. That's what gave him his job. He was retained. I mean, a multi-billion organization. That's exactly what can happen. Exactly. So, Honor can open hearts. Honor can give you access. Honor gives access. Honor can open hearts. So if you think that a road, that's why the Bible says the gift of a man makes room for him. A lot of people, Christian folks like me and you, and some of us, I think actually that scripture means your gift, your talent. No, if you look at that passage very well, it's not talking about talent at all. It's literally talking about a physical gift. The gift of a man. You may call it bribe. It's not bribe, all right, in this context. But that's actually what it means. Your gift is you before gifts. Because gifts are like a savor. Gifts are like an aroma. When that mentor smells it, he opens his heart. She begins to say what she didn't plan to say. Why? Somehow you have provoked, I don't want to use the word anointing. You have provoked that option aspect, that grace, as it were. Okay? Why? With your seed. This is very powerful. Right? And a generation out there, your generation and mine, do not. I hope I'm communicating. Let me know I'm communicating in the comment section. Let me communicate, and whatever value you are getting, just put in the comment section. Let me know that I'm communicating. Right? So we said that mentorship will do 4 things for us. Mentors demand 4 things from us. They demand stability, they demand accountability, they demand loyalty, right? And they demand honor. Very, very powerful. All right. Thank you, Praise. Thank you, Magira. Right? This is critical in our journey, right? For us to have cutting-edge leadership, okay, we need this. Okay, and I'm speaking to us because one of the things I asked Joshua earlier this afternoon is that in his mind, all right, he is seeing us as global citizens. Okay, and these are the principles we need to become global citizens. You know what? Let me make a very, very important statement. I am not, the way I'm speaking, that's why I speak sometimes with energy. I'm not speaking with people who are not in one area. Maybe you're in Lagos, you're in Kaduna, you're in one corner of town. No, I'm speaking to global change agents. Right, the mindset you must carry. And the fact that I'm in Nigeria doesn't mean that I'm a less than equal citizen. No, I am a global. I want you to put it there in the comment section, or put it in your spirit if you can. Say I'm a global citizen. Forget that I'm in Nigeria. Forget that I'm in one corner. Forget that I'm in one room. Forget that I may not know the next meal I will eat, but I am a global citizen. This is the mindset you must carry every time. So I'm seeing myself with the best of the best in the world. I am a global citizen. No, I'm not a local citizen. I may play locally, but I am global in my perspective. All right? This is very important. That's why the concept of local came to me. All right? They said you may play local. I hope you've heard about the concept before. GLO. Yeah, global change makers. Beautiful. We are global change makers. Right? So please let no man limit you. Let no man think that, oh, you're a man. No, sir, no, man. As long as this life, you are not a second-class citizen. Forget, I am not a third-world citizen. No, I am a global citizen. I'm a change agent. They may call my country a third-world country. I'm not a third-world person. No, I'm a global agent. I'm a global change agent. It's very powerful. It's very important to see that. Okay, so let's quickly look at. Let me begin round up right now, because I've taken a lot of time by coming here a bit late. I apologize. We also had a bit of network to keep time. All right. So how do you now identify mentors, and how do you now leverage on them to? Already we've said that these are what mentors do. Okay. We've also mentioned the fact that this is what mentors can do for us. Okay. All right. So we need to know, you need to now know how to identify these mentors. Okay. So you need to be very clear who they are. Way define who they are. All right. That's not even the first thing. That's the second thing. The first thing is to actually decide and define what you want. Like I said earlier, no mentor wants you to waste their time. All right. So you need to define. I need to define what exactly I want from these mentoring relationships. All right. This is very important, and this is coming to my mind very quickly. Let me say this before I forget. Okay. Now, I see this happen every time, and I believe it has reduced a bit. So you see Fela Durotoi, for instance, somebody goes into inbox and says, Fela Durotoi, please, I would love you to mentor me. I hope you know that the days of that is over now. Right now, I'll tell you a few keys to access your. So I said earlier that a lot of people think that mentors don't have a need. That's a lie. Okay, one of the best ways to access anybody is to go look for, because they say the rich also cry, is to go look for their need. And if they don't have any need, create it. Oh, I'll say that again. Access any man, look for a point in the heart of that mentor. There's something that is paining them. Let me use our language. There's a pain point in their life. Look for that pain point and be the solution. You can access any man on the earth for mentorship. I'm telling you. So let me give you a practical example. Many years ago, I'll give you a practical example of some of my mentors and tutors, Fela Durotoye and Steve Harris. Great guys, great men, right? So many years ago, when this just initially got connected, Steve Harris will say that he went to Fela and realized that, Fela, you are speaking so well. And when you speak up in a place, everybody admire you. The energy, the wisdom, the knowledge with which you dispense your information is out of this world. But Steve said, Fela, I realized something. A lot of people do not know you. The only time they know you is when they see you in a conference. Maybe you are speaking in Uniland. Maybe you are speaking in the back. But you see, Fela, I think that your message needs to cut across. So let's get your CDs around. Let's get your audio materials around and all of that. Now, you can imagine out of the blues, that I can tell you for free that that was one of the major things that endeared Steve Harris to Fela Durotoye. Why? Because the guy saw, unlike everybody who wants to be a leech, unlike somebody who is demanding and still spoken for, or God give me access, or God mentor me. No, this one didn't ask for mentorship. This one didn't ask for anything. He just found a pain point. He just found a need and said, let me meet this need. You don't need to ask for mentorship. It will happen automatically. And this is very powerful. A lot of people do not know this. And so they still live and still waiting for one day the mentor will come. No. And this is what I tell people when I talk about this. I said, if the person you are looking up to doesn't have a need, create one. Now, the job would be that, how do I create one? Now, that question is beyond the scope of this class. I hope you remember some of our physics textbook, some of our English textbook. They'll say, this topic is beyond the scope of this book. So for that, this one that you just asked, if you did ask, is beyond the scope of this class. I'm saying to you that look for the need of a mentor and meet it. If they do not have a need, create it. How to do that, I really do not know. Again, it's beyond the scope of this class. But I'm just trying, my point here is that you must, right, find their need. The rich also cry. They have a pain point. Meet it, and I can tell you for free that you are ready to be mentored. So finally, as I close, number one is that you must identify exactly what you want. Clarity is critical. Clarity is important in this journey, because if what you want is not clear to you, how will it be clear to your mentor? Right? So you must define it, exactly what you want to be mentored about. You must clarify it. It must be crystal clear to you. Now, that will now determine who to mentor you. You can't have a not too clear picture and you expect a mentor to do the work. No, sir, it will not happen. Again, they do not have all the time. They don't have all the luxury of time. They want to maximize time, right? So it's very important. Forget those G's. The truth is this, all right? Volunteering is powerful. So a guy came to Jesus once. No, not a guy. There was a woman called the mother Jesus once. He said, Jay, how many times did I call you? Permit my language. Jay said, Mommy, you called me 3 times. He said, you know you are my boy. You know you come to eat in our house every day. And James and John, you know they are your younger brother. And they came to tell me, so this is the mother of James and John telling Jesus now. These guys came to tell me that you have a kingdom, you are going somewhere one day. All right? Somewhere one day. Permit that English. So she now said, you know what? I want I'm asking you as a son, I want one of these boys, perhaps James, let him be on your right in that your kingdom. Then John, let him be on your left. Jesus said, mommy, this thing that you have asked. He said, mommy, but let me tell you this. Anybody who wants to be chief amongst you, anybody who wants to have the cutting edge leadership amongst you, anybody who wants to lead amongst James and them, let them become a servant. Oh, powerful. So what Jesus said, I made a shortcut is not good because shortcut will short. It's true. But Jesus gave a very powerful principle. He said the shortcut to leadership is servanthood. The shortcut to leadership is being mentored. The shortcut to leadership is serving. The shortcut to leadership is volunteering. Volunteering is powerful. I wrote about it. I left an entire chapter in this book that you're seeing, an entire chapter talking about volunteering, because the generation out there who doesn't want to listen, they want to eat it big, they want to lead, they don't want to serve, they want to be ahead always, they don't want to serve. Listen, if you are not willing to serve, nobody will serve you. Forget your charisma. Leadership is not about charisma. It's not only a charisma, you need character. There's a balance of charisma and character. In fact, somebody said if you have to do without one, do without charisma, right? You must have a twin of charisma and character along. Don't be so charismatic that you do not have character, sir. No, sir. You need the book, right? So this is very important and very critical. I think I will leave you here. There's so much to say, but I love to keep the time. So please, if you've not heard anything I said today, go volunteer. Look for somebody who you can serve. And I can tell you for free, service will give you speed. Service will give you leverage, all right? The service and volunteering is the biggest thing you can do in a mentoring relationship. I hope you got value. Thank you for having me again. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, Joshua, for having me. God bless you real good. I appreciate it.
Wow. Thank you so very much, sir, for this wonderful session. We indeed got value, and I believe everyone present can attest to that. And I would love you to drop it on the comment section. Just say what you learned today from our speaker session. Just drop some the things, those points that caught you, your attention or something. Just drop them. Let's see them. Let's know that yes, you have gotten value. You know, wow. Mentorship provide protection. Mentorship provide momentum. Mentorship prevents you from mistakes. Even though they still make your own mistakes, but there are some of the mistakes you will not need to have to do them because your mentor is there to lead and guide you. Mentorship provides promotion. Wow, sir. It's really awesome. And I believe we have learned a lot. And I believe we are going to leverage this for our journey of global relevance. And we have also, he has also told us the demands of mentorship, which entails a lot, teachability. You must be teachable. You must be submissive to be teachable. You must be teachable. Loyalty to the core. You must be loyal to the very core. Yes. He has started some examples for us, and I believe we have gotten the essence of the message, which try to describe what loyalty is at the very core. Honor gives you access, or limited access. If there is no problem, create one and solve it. Create one and solve it. Wow. I'm just trying to make a recap. And you must be clear about what you want to be mentored. You must be clear about what you want to be mentored. You must be very clear about what you want to be mentored. Need for service. Those that were in the beginning, I spoke about 4 dimensions of cutting edge leader, where I spoke about 4 things. Number 1, the force that drives a cutting edge. The cutting edge leader is driven by a force greater than him, which is a force of vision and purpose. Which when we study through all the kind of leaders that have emerged in Africa and in the world, you realize that they are driven by something greater and bigger than them, and that is the force of vision. That is the force of purpose. They knew what they want. And number two, I spoke about the need to be bold and courageous to step out and create that picture, that vision, and birth it forth. And the third thing I spoke about is that there is a need for us to be servant leaders. That's if you are a cutting edge leader, there is at the very center of your heart is service. Your willingness to serve your generation with that uniqueness you have discovered about yourself. And I also spoke about lastly the need for people. Cutting edge leaders are people centered. They are people centered. They pursue people, and people are not tools to be used or exploited. They are rather resource to be engaged in fulfilling the vision. And he is here. He was not around yet. He was speaking about the need for service. And the truth is that is just the key to greatness. That is just the key to greatness. A lot of the problem we have in Africa is that we lack people who want to serve. Please, Adam Mohammed, can you mute your mic? Thank you. Ali Suleiman too would love you to mute your mics. All right, thank you. So I believe that out of this first day of the conference, we have been empowered to begin to become global leaders. Because as a cutting edge leader, you must sustain the global mindset. You must sustain the kingly mindset, the domineering mindset. We are not slaves. We are out, and we must set Africa on the world stage. We must project Africa also. As I said earlier, the world is becoming global by the day. And the more there is a need for more global leaders to rise across the world. And these global leaders must not come from the West. We must also be able to tell ourselves that we will rise and also be part of those that will tell the world this is the direction we must go. And I'm happy, and I trust that a lot of the people participating in this conference are young people, and it's strategic because the continent is already the continent of young people. And I believe with this energy, we can be able to create the effect, the change we want to see in Africa. So thank you so very much. And as young people, I believe we are going to leverage mentorship for our journey of global relevance. In whatever field we are clear about that this is what you want to do. This is a problem you want to solve for Africa. This is a problem you want to solve for the world. This is a problem you are born to solve. You identify someone who will mentor you in that particular direction so that you will leverage that. You will leverage that for your momentum, for your promotion, for protection, and all of that. So thank you so very much for honoring our invitation and for the time to be here. So we are really, really most grateful. Thank you so very much, sir.
A pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Yes, thank you, sir. And at this point, I want to thank everyone for taking out your time to be part of this conference. We want to really appreciate you on behalf of the Africa's Leadership Engagement Team and the leadership. I want to say thank you for your time, for participating from the beginning to this very time. And we trust that you have gained something, you have gained value. And I believe all that have registered for this conference, you belong to a WhatsApp group. We can continue with the conversation in that very group as you continue to trade perspectives and be able to engage our minds in this conversation. It does not end here, but there is a need for us to keep reminding ourselves of this. This is just a platform to stimulate our minds, to push us to just ignite this desire, this fire in our inside, so that we will be able to carry it on after the conference, carry it on to our various spheres of influences and begin to enforce those things. So I hope that we'll continue the conversation in the group, and tomorrow we will meet again by 4 to 6 as we continue on this very conversation. That will be the last day tomorrow, where I'll have my friend from Rwanda and my brother from my sister from Rwanda and my brother from South Africa, who will also be sharing some perspective with us about the need for cutting edge leadership. So thank you, thank you, thank you so very much for all your time, and we are grateful. So at this point, I would like to call it a day with every one of us, and I believe all of us that have gotten value, you are going to share this with others tomorrow to come and join us and participate as well in this conference, so that we will continue to sharpen ourselves as young people, so that in our pursuit to be able to develop Africa and transform it. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful night rest from Nigeria. Thank you.